just wanted to do a video about a topic that's been going around on YouTube, and I wanted to do it on ethnicity in Australia, what it's like being a foreigner in Australia. And needless to say, I'm not a foreigner. I am so Aussie that at Christmas time we have kangaroo and crayfish. Forget the turkey. No, serious. My grandpa hunts the kangaroos themselves. Before you say, oh, kangaroos are so cute, they're a pest. They are a pest. They're cute, I agree, but we have so many of them. They're really tasty. And my uncle fishes for the crayfish himself, so we're very Australian in that sense. But Australia is very multicultural. We have no, Aussies in Australia. I mean, I call myself Aussie and I am Aussie, but I really come from a very multicultural line. There are literally tons of different ethnicities in Australia. We're like a melting pot, and they're just thrown hundreds of different races together and see what happens. Like Big Brother. No, but Australia is very multicultural. I can't emphasize how multicultural we are. An example of this is my family and my friends. My dad is German. He came to Australia when he was 13 with his family. He lived in Germany until then. My boyfriend is Afrikaans, and his family came to Australia when he was a teenager as well. They are very Afrikaans. They are the image of South Africa. If I think of South Africa, I think of his family. And my best friend is Indian. She grew up here, but her parents are very Indian, and she often goes back and visits, and she has a lot of connections to India. On top of that, the university I go to, which is Curtin University, is nicknamed Asian Central. I'm not trying to be racist, but there are a lot of Asians there. A lot of Asians. I mean, when you're walking to your class, you're more likely to hear Chinese than English. It's not a bad thing at all. It's a little bit off-putting sometimes. But it's great. Considering I'm taking Chinese class, it's wonderful. It's like practice every time I walk to my class. I often hear Chinese conversations. Though I don't understand it, it's good to hear it. But what I want to talk about that is, if you're a foreigner in Australia, as in you're a tourist, or you've only been here for less than a year and you consider yourself a different ethnicity, people won't assume that you're foreign. People will assume that you are Australian, even if you can't speak English very well, or even if you look, if you come from India and you're wearing the Indian outfit, and you got all the jewelry and all that sort of stuff. People won't assume that you're Indian. They will know that you're Indian, but they will assume that you have lived in Australia for a very long time. You might have permanent residence or citizenship or that sort of thing. That is because there are so many different ethnicities that you can't. It would be rude to, if you see someone who you quite obviously know is Asian or Indian or whatever. It would be rude to assume that they're from another country, or are you coming here as a tourist? It's just too rude, because they've probably lived here for half their life. This abundance of races and different ethnicity comes from our history. I can't remember when it was, maybe in the 1960s, 70s, I can't remember. We had a policy of immigration, which was basically, get as many people into Australia as much as you can. We needed a population boom and to stimulate our economy, and we just went up to the job of making babies that fast. I mean, they really tried to increase procreation, but we weren't fast enough. Anyway, so that is the base reason why there are so many different people in Australia who are Australians, just not English, come from the first white settlers. That is why, and during that period there was a lot of Asian people who came over, and even today there are a lot of different countries, especially Asian, coming to Australia. Probably because we're so close to those countries, it makes it a little bit easier. I love the fact that Australia is multicultural. I'm saying all, the Asian Central, and there's so many Asians, and even if you're wearing Indian, I love multiculturalism. I think it is the best thing since sliced bread. It is really good to have different cultures because that stops you from, stops our country from becoming, xenophobic, being afraid of other people's cultures. It just stops us from doing that. The only problem with multiculturalism, and though it's not a big problem, is that there's a problem with loyalties. I mean, if you got people coming to Australia who are more loyal to their country when a war happens, I'm not saying there's going to be a war, it's not a heads up, but I'm saying they have divided loyalties and it makes it difficult. In terms of securing Australia, it is not very good. But I say it again, I prefer multiculturalism. Multiculturalism is the backbone of peace, I think. Continuing on the backbone of peace, in Australia you can sometimes see these stickers, and these stickers are mostly on cars, and they say F off, we're full. If you need explanation, that means go away, foreigners, we don't want you here, we've got enough people. That is a load of bollocks. That is a total load of bollocks. We are not full. We have a lot of space. But not on that, but Australia was built on immigrants, so how can you say that? I mean, it annoys me so much. I mean, those people who have those stickers in our car, if they can't say that, because I guarantee that, unless they're Aboriginal, I guarantee their descendants came from somewhere else. I mean, they're probably, most people are not, the typical white first settlers that are they're Italian people or German people or European people, and even Asian people have been here for so long. I know, have you seen Community Channel? I think she's a little bit more Australian than me. I wouldn't go so far as to say, she doesn't eat kangaroo at Christmas, but she's really Australian. The way that she thinks, the way that she acts, the way that she speaks, she is Australian. I remember watching one of her videos, and she had a racist email sent to her, and it was appalling. You leave Australia, you're ruining Australia, I can only consider the white people, Oh my god, I can't believe there's people who think like that these days. Basically, to sum up what I'm saying, Australia was built on the backbone of all these immigrants. So Australia is so multicultural and it's wonderful. I love it here. And because of that, if you're a foreigner coming here, you won't be assumed to be foreign. In that way, Australia is completely different to places like Japan. I mean, when I went there last, I would ride through the town on my bike and people would stop and stare. And it didn't bother me at all. I mean, it was embarrassing when I stacked my bike and everyone saw it because I was staring at me. But, people notice you over there, but in Australia, if you're Asian, no one's going to notice because there are tons of Asian people here, you can't tell the difference between European people and, English people, say European or American, you can't tell the difference here because we've got so many of the range, they're all considered one. So, so that is how it is in Australia. We are very tolerant of other races. I mean, our government is full into multiculturalism, and we really do like foreigners. There's a few of us that make it horrible for the rest of us, but it's okay, I'll tell them off for you. So that's just my opinion of Australia. I just wanted to share that with you all because it seems to be going around. I'm very proud to be Australian, so if you ever have an opportunity to come here, come here. I mean, you won't have a bad experience. I mean, we are very friendly people, and